Okay, everybody, here we go. It's me, Gregory Mannarino. Still Friday, September. I keep wanting to say another month. September 27th, 2024. Post-market wrap-up. Magic Mika's here. How you doing? I missed you. We all missed you. People, we have a lot of stuff to talk about here today. And I want to focus with all of you, honestly, on solutions to our problems. They're out here. We've talked about it many times, but I'm hoping for more input from all of you with regard to what's happening, where we're going, where we're being pushed. Um, and we're going to cover all that. Absolutely, we are. Let's start off with this. I'm laughing. Imagine our shock. Another record high for the stock market. Dow Jones Industrial Average. It's not going to stop. It's just going to be more of the same, unfortunately, until we take action. You see, look, man, people have lost their ability to realize that we're the ones who are supposed to be in control of our futures, our destiny, where we go. It's been stripped out. People, unfortunately, walk through time and space, not understanding that it's us who can determine where we want to go. But in this current environment, it's very, very difficult here. There are a few, I'm going to say two main paralyzing factors that are almost insurmountable to overcome with regard to uh, governing ourselves, which is what this nation was built upon. Obviously, that no longer exists anymore, but we do have the power to take it back. There's many, many more of us than there are of them. Now, listen, before we really get into all that, thank you, Mitch. I want to cover the information from today, what's going on. I am not. I know. Just please don't even ask me to do this because I'm not going to cover the Trump Zelensky meeting. I did watch part of it. They were very cordial to each other, handshaking, patting each other on the back. It looked like a love fest, but I don't even want to get into that. I will not cover that here. I just don't even want to get into it. You guys and girls can do this on your own here, honestly. Anyway, here, what I want to do is, again, talk about the information that we got today. And this is, I mean, it's just too much. It really is. So here we go. This is CNBC. Key Fed inflation gauge at 2.2% in August. So, well, let's just go over what it actually means. The Fed's favorite in inflation metric here, PCE, Personal Consumption Expenditures Price Index, a measure of the Fed focus to measure the cost of goods and services, went up. Inflation went higher this month here, putting the 12-month inflation rate at 2.2%. Okay, lovely. Now, excluding food and energy, core prices also gained and are 2.7% higher than a year ago. As you and I have been saying, look, they can shove this stuff down our throat all they want to. They can lie about the numbers. They're not real. Tyler, thank you. It's all a gross distortion of the truth. We cannot get the truth anymore out of anything, anyone. Now let's move forward. And this is where it really gets even better. So by their own numbers, inflation continues to rise. U.S. inflation cools. They love that word cool because people don't understand what it means. And it points toward more Fed rate cuts. You understand this is the goal here. The Fed's on a mission, and I mean a mission from some dark entity out here to inflate us to death. They're going to continue to cut rates moving forward. They're going to continue to devalue the currency moving forward. They're going to continue to foster inflation moving forward. We'll talk more about that in just a second. I want you know what, as I am walking through this, I want you to think about something. So the Fed has a 2% target rate with regard to inflation, right? 2% of what? All right, just think about what I'm talking about. 2% of what? And why is it that they have this target inflation rate? What is it leading up to? Right, so just a lot of people hear these things. Oh, the Fed has a 2% target rate. It's going to be beautiful and fantastic. Why? We'll hold that thought anyway. So again, inflation. As a matter of fact, look at this. This is both from today. This is Market Watch saying that inflation is cooling further. This is Reuters. Inflation is rising. Who's right? Are we cooling or are we rising? Are we cooling? Are we rising? Are we cooling? Are we rising? Rah, rah, rah. I mean, you can't make this up. This is the same day. Both of these from today. One says we're cooling. Most people would think it's coming down. This one says it's rising. Obviously, it's rising. So again, this is just a farce. Another thing that they're throwing at us here. Inflation is going to continue to rise. The mechanism of currency devaluation via obviously artificially suppressed rates is an incredible thing. Let's talk about the Fed's 2% in annual inflation rate. Let's just boil this down to what it actually means. When you hear that, in its most basic terms, it means this, that a dollar today is going to buy you 2% less goods next year than it is now. So they're telling you already right off the bat that future currency is going to be devalued at least 2%. Very simple economics 101. Are we all on the same page? But here's the issue I have with the Fed's 2% target. So the Fed wants to inflate. They're saying they're admitting they're going to inflate on an annual basis of 2%. So just do the math. 2% this year, another 2% plus another 2% plus another percent. Over time, it's an astronomical number. But they want you to think it's okay. People believe that it's a constant. It is not a constant, meaning 2% compounding, 2% compounding, 2% compounding, 2%. Then they wonder why prices are rising across the board. They wonder what's going on. They don't know. This is the most basic information you can possibly understand, but people have no idea about it. They have no clue at all. Now, here's my issue again, going back to the Fed's 2% target inflation rate. So no matter what, no matter if our economy is contracting as it is right now, or our economy is booming, the Fed wants to keep a 2% target. I personally believe, first of all, the whole issue here of creating inflation, who does that benefit? Let's talk about that. There's a reason why it's 2%. You probably don't know what it is. And this is maybe not in the books. But if we understand that new money creation, who does it help the most? Bing, 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 bing. You got it. The 1 and 2 percenters. Why? Because the 1 and 2 percenters, correlating with the 2% target by the Fed, they're the ones that get the new money first. They benefit from the creation of new money, the creation of inflation. Hey, that rhymes. That's why the Fed has a 2% target. It's meant to help the 1 and 2 percenters at the expense of all of us. Because for us, it compounds 2%, 2%, but that's what they want you to believe. Let me explain this to you. It takes a finite amount of time for that cash, that newly created cash, to make its way through an economy. When you have an economy like we have had now since the meltdown of '08, where we've had an economy that's been contracting and they've been ballooning the money supply, it takes at least a few years. It could take many years to make its way through the economy. That's why we're seeing inflation now, okay? Biden, Trump, this guy, now we're getting the effect of it. You're not supposed to know this stuff. This is a lag effect. This is basic economics. Everybody knows that. But again, the reason why there is a 2% target is because the 1 and 2 percenters benefit from that. The rest of us, we got to take it deep in the heart of the gabagool. You understand? But you see, people don't know that. They're supposed to think it's all well and good, and that's going to help us somehow. By some miracle, by the Fed having their target inflation rate, it's going to help you. Because you see, what they don't want you to know is your dollar will become 2% worth less next year, and then compounded the next year, and the one after that, and the one after that. And then people sit and they go, why? Why is this happening? I just don't know. Greg, it's me, Janet. Why are you telling these people the truth? Because they might understand something. We can't have them understand this stuff, Greg. Because you see, then they would maybe take action. But you see, we have to keep them stupid, Greg. So stop spreading the truth. We can't allow them to know any of this stuff. You do understand what I'm talking about, right? That's Janet Yellen. Now let's talk about another piece of propaganda. And it's interesting how it's worded here. The U.S. trade deficit is down to $94.3 billion. Okay, let me read this to you. The United States goods and trade deficit decreased to 94.3 billion in August. In other words, we've had a deficit of 94.3 billion. This number is astronomical. Just a few years ago, if people even heard this kind of almost 100 billion per month, they would probably not know what to do with themselves. But today it's just okay. This is okay that we're running these unbelievable deficits. Now, here's the news. Okay. So again, this number dropped 8.3% on a monthly basis. In case you haven't been paying any attention, this has been ballooning. This is the first month that they're telling us by some miracle here, maybe it has something to do with the election cycle, that we had a miracle number here. And instead of being 100 billion, which has been running, or over 100 billion, now we're only 94.3 billion. Now, let me ask you, Mitch knows what I'm going to say. So we're running this deficit here of 94.3 billion. Okay. Who makes up the difference here? Because you can't just continue to run deficits. Oh, yes, it's the Federal Reserve. We're going to borrow this cash into existence. They're going to put it on your back. It's going to be added to the debt. Yes, that's how it works. But you see, Greg, I told you, Greg. It's me, Janet, again. You can't tell people these things because then they're going to know the truth. And maybe they'll get upset about it. People, come on, man. Come on. You know, let me just say something real quick. Actually, I wasn't going to do this, but I think I will because I got a chuckle out of it. So I ran this poll earlier today. Let me read this to you. What did I write down here? Oh, anyway, I wrote Lions. I have a question for you. If Trump were to be selected as president, would you rather see me as a member of President Trump's economic team, or would you prefer Elon Musk, who Trump has already chosen as his government waste czar? You might want to do a little research into the subsidies that Elon Musk has taken from the government. He's become a gazillionaire off of government subsidies. So I don't think he's the right guy for as Trump's government waste czar. So anyway, I said, would you prefer to see me or Musk in that position here? Look at these numbers. 82% would rather see me over Musk. And I have to say, I asked you, I said, please answer this question honestly. This is nothing personal against me. For the 18% of you that say you'd rather see Elon Musk, I don't hold any animosity towards you. I just wanted the truth here. But I am very happy to see that 82% of you believe that I'd be a better guy than Musk would be. It's funny, I get comments like this. Well, Greg, Musk has a lot more money than you. That's why he's better than you would be for the economy. I said, well, then, okay, if that's the case, then why isn't Musk president? Musk could buy Trump 10 times over with ease, maybe 100 times over. So maybe Musk should be president then by that line of thinking. But I mean, it's just me. Anyway, look, here's the issue that we have here. We are clearly in a crisis. And the crisis that we're in, and the next crisis after that, and the one after that, again, the mechanism here must continue, whether it's funding for COVID, 3.6 trillion, whether it's hundreds of billions for war. It's all part of the mechanism of this debt-based system, which must end. Now, let's just throw something out here. Let's say, okay, the Fed or central banks collectively are way too powerful. We cannot take them down, which I think is a terrible mistake. We can, because we have the law on our side here. Okay, the U.S. Constitution, yes, I'm pointing towards that ship, which is the U.S. Constitution back there, guarantees us a sound money system, a constitutional money system, which we have been stripped of. The U.S. Constitution says nothing but gold and or silver. There's a reason for that. It was built into the law because it was supposed to restrain spending. You understand? When we went off of the gold standard here and went on to a fiat monetary system, you know what fiat actually stands for? Like, so just allow it to be. Basically, it's you're not going to believe this. Don't believe what I'm saying here, but look it up for yourself. It's a public trust system. In other words, you are trusting that system has your best interest in mind. Does it seem that way to you? Do you trust that the Federal Reserve or the central banking debt-based system has your best interest in mind? Because it's a public trust. That's what it is. If you don't believe me, again, please look this stuff up that I say. Don't take anything I say at face value. it just takes a nanosecond for you to do a little research. Just a public trust system. Now, our representatives, our loving, caring representatives from the president on down, they represent you, right? The public trust. We trust that these individuals are going to have our best interest in mind, just like the Federal Reserve in this case, if you live here in the United States. I do not have any trust in this system. It's just the most corrupt abomination of what was a good idea at one point. Now it's just, again, we are being destroyed. You understand? So fiat monetary system, debt-based system, a public trust. I don't trust it. I don't think there's a single one of you out here that trusts it. But let's just throw this out here. Let's say, okay, we're not going to get rid of the Federal Reserve or a central banking system, at least in our lifetime, which again, I think is that we can do this. If we had the guts to do it, if we had enough people to back this up, which we clearly do not. I ran a poll on this. 26% of you want nothing to do with it. Those are the people who love the system. They have the trust in the system. These are the ones that, again, are looking at their 401k plans. Again, Dow Jones Industrial Average, new record high today. They're all giddy. They're orgasmic, multi-orgasmic of looking at those digits on the screen, which don't exist. They're not real. Okay, so they don't want to buck the system. They like it the way, especially the 1% and 2%ers. I mean, this annual rate of 2% inflation, again, it helps. It's 2% for a reason. Maybe you never knew what it was, but it's 2% to help the 1% and 2%ers. The rest of us, there are overlords, of course. And that's it. I guess people like Elon Musk are overlords. He benefits from this, of course. But he's the guy that Trump wants. Won't pick Greg Mannarino. There's no way. Trump doesn't even know who I am. Maybe he does. I have no idea. If you guys and girls make Trump aware of me, I'd work for him for free. Zero. I won't take a single dollar. Whatever they try to pay me, I will donate to a charity all of you want. All right. I will work for Trump for absolutely zero. I'll even do it in the background without anybody knowing it. Okay. That's the kind of guy that I am. All right. I would do it. I don't need any glory. I don't need to be recognized for anything. You understand? I do it. Anyway. So again, as I said, right now, what we need here is what the polar opposite, and we've covered this before, of what we are seeing now. The promises of lower rates out of both presidential selectees right now. These are destructive forces. Lower rates means a weaker currency. These are destructive to the economy. It sure as hell helps the 1% and 2%ers. Oh, absolutely. It sure as heck or hell helps fulfill the corporate agenda. But again, just look back on times. It's just too simple. Where the currency was stronger, where we had much higher rates. At that time, it only took one income to support a family in a detached house with a new car, sending your kids off to school in nice new clothing. All that's gone now. Gone to the mom and pop shops in favor of the corporate agenda. But the corporate agenda is being shoved down our throat once again by the Fed cutting rates, by both Trump and Kamala, telling you, well, we need this, and the Fed is fulfilling it. We need this. We promise you this. The Fed's following suit. So, look, to me, the friend of my enemy is my enemy, okay? If we understand, both of them are saying the same thing, and the Fed is doing what they're saying. Are they friends with the Fed, or are they friends with you? All right. So, as I was trying to say, what we need is a sound money system. We're not going to get it. And I told you this before. There are only, for anybody here that studies economics, that studies finance, tell me if I'm wrong here. Are you ready? You've probably heard me say this before. Duke, thank you. What are my current thoughts on silver? Everyone, while I'm voicing this, why don't you tell them what my current thoughts on silver are? That's my favorite asset of all time. Anyway, as I've explained many times, to have a strong economy, you need a strong currency. Does that sound normal to you? If I said to have a strong economy, we need a weak currency, that doesn't even hit you right? It's just something just doesn't sound right about it because it's not right. You know the truth inherently. Now, again, the second part of this is you need a corresponding rate of interest that will keep the currency strong. So what we're seeing here, what the Fed is doing, these are massively destructive forces here. And both Kamala and Trump are right on board doing it. So we are being decimated. We're being destroyed. And people, they're going to these rallies and they're cheering. And what I was going to say earlier, the main roadblocks, we have two main roadblocks. And I really think it just comes down to two. And I would love to hear you on this here. There are two main roadblocks to you and I taking back the system. In other words, first of all, well, maybe there's three. It's to hold people accountable. If, for example, Trump supporters or Kamala supporters actually understood economics at all, which they don't. These are just, I don't know what these people are. I mean, I'm talking about to the extreme. Okay. We should be supporting ourselves. You all know that. Why is it that no one questions Trump or Kamala about why is it, sir or madam, that you want what the Fed wants? That is lower rates. That you want what the Fed wants? That is a weaker currency. Cat cuts. Thank you. I'm not surprised. Anyway, so what was my train of thought? I'm sorry, I lost that. There's no questions about that. Again, they blindly follow these individuals because they have their faith in the wrong place. It leads to destruction, their own. There's no questions about that, at all. There's nothing about that that came up during the debate, which was just a joke on a grand scale. And the joke they think was on us. It's obviously not. No real questions at all. We did hear about eating of dogs and cats and the concepts of a plan with regard to healthcare, and nothing real. It was all just nonsense across the board. But what would you expect in this kind of environment? So the roadblocks are there's no accountability. So I'm going to say three things. The people do not hold their so-called leaders accountable because they don't even know. People, again, in this nation, I think more so than anywhere in the world, and this is why we're the laughing stock of the world, have been dumbed down to such a degree they have no idea which end is up, which end is down, inside or out. I want to show you a phenomenon. Look at the title of this video, offering a solution to the system, what's going on here. We have the least amount of people here that we've ever had. People don't want to hear about solutions. That may be another roadblock here too. All people want to hear about, I don't even know what they want to hear about, but it's certainly not solutions, as you can see. Usually we got about 2,000 people here. Now you have half that. So that's another roadblock. Okay, so number one, no accountability. No questions, no real anything. Sammy, thank you. Thank you very much. People don't want solutions. They want, I don't know what they want. They want to be kept in their dumbed down states. They want to move through time and space as the zombies that they are. For those of you that are here with me right now, you are looking for solutions here. I understand that, and the solutions are in our face. The roadblocks are, again, multiple fold now that I'm thinking about it. No accountability. Obviously not enough interest in doing it. Then there's two more here. Division and fear. Let's talk about division first. By keeping people divided, which is their mechanism and as ancient as a time itself, there can be no agreement. So the divide and conquer mechanism is in full effect. And it's unbelievable what we're seeing right now. I've lived almost 60 years. Okay, I'm 59 right now. I've seen a lot. I've never seen anything like this. But the division now, the hatred that has been fostered between families, family members. If you don't belong to this party, then you're being called every name under the sun. If you don't belong into this party, you're called every name under the sun. So how can these two people that have been deliberately divided? This is not real. You have to understand. It's a show. The Trumps, what used to be the Bidens, and now the Kamala. This is not real. It gets ratings. It gets people to watch the news. It gets people to pay attention to other things, to these nonsensical, what is really a sitcom, when they should be focusing on other things, like maybe solutions to the system, but they can't. They're locked in. There's no escape from it. So this division may be the biggest one of them all. There's another factor too that's probably just as big, and I want to cover that in a minute. Division here does not allow people to come together to come up with solutions. And that's why we are a controlled society. We are not free to do anything. Okay, we are a controlled society via the mechanism of division. That's number one. Number two, Fear. What politicians do, they find your weakness. They find what you're afraid of. Okay. Once they find and make you afraid of it, okay, they'll shove it down your throat, even if it's not real. Paul Ryan, thank you. They're going to shove something down your throat, real or imagined, okay, and then talk about it. If you talk about something enough, anything, it becomes real. You understand? It becomes very real to people. Even if it's not real, it will become real to those divided people who are looking towards a particular person to get them out of the current situation that they're afraid of. So it's an insane thing. Again, the division, then fear. Fear this, fear that, whatever it is. Fear is it's a primal instinct. People revert back to it, and when you get cornered, okay, you want to get out of that corner, and you look for someone that you believe is going to help you do it. And that's what they do, politicians. They find your weakness. Fear is weakness, okay? They find it, they prey on it, and they don't let it go. Once they got you, they tighten it and tighten it and tighten it until you can't see straight, you can't hear nothing, you become absolutely paralyzed. Right, thank you. Does this sound about right to you, what I'm saying, or is this just doesn't make any sense to you? I'd be willing to bet that the vast majority of you get it here. And I am so disappointed about the turnout here today. Again, people are not concerned about solutions. The solution here, right off the bat, it's too simple. What they're selling us right now, again, what the Fed wants, lower rates, because this allows them to inflate. Again, you understand the mechanism. Lou, thank you. What do you think of gold back notes? I'd rather hold gold, man. I'd rather hold it. I don't know another way to put it, honestly. Period. I don't know another way to say it. I'd have to do a lot of research into it. Is it a fractional system? Is it 1-to-1? I mean, what is the ratio? I mean, I have to really look into it. I really feel that, again, right now, you and I, we're on the right course, betting against the debt, becoming our own central banks, understanding that central banks and hedge funds, the largest hedge funds in the world, are hoarding gold at their fastest pace on record. And with regard to central banks, I am so with you, Jonathan. You have no idea. Maybe you do, because you've heard me proclaim my unshakable faith in the Almighty here. Okay, that's how I don't even want to get into it, because whenever I start talking about God the Almighty, I get so much hate, and that should tell you something too. Greg believes in invisible things that don't exist. These people are going to pay for it worse than you can possibly imagine. I think most of you know what I'm talking about. Let's not even talk about that. Anyway, look, man, what it comes down to is this. We're being sold a system that empowers the Federal Reserve. That is, again, going back to their 2% inflation rate, which of course helps the 1 and 2%ers. And again, there's no one raises any questions. No one even knows how it works. I mean, it's just a basic 2% annual means that your dollar is worth 2% less next year, and then another 2% on top of that the year after, and then another 2% on top of that a year after that. So just the cumulative effect of this target rate by the central banks is so damaging. It is so destructive, and it allows them to continue to inflate without question. Without question. Again, they can't just they reach their target by manipulating the debt market, currency markets, and that's how they achieve that 2%. And we're supposed to believe that they have our best interest. Now, again, the system that we're being sold here by both Kamala and Trump is the system that the Fed owns, the system that the Fed wants, promising lower rates, obviously weaker currency. And we need the polar opposite. Like I said, go back to a time when the currency was stronger. Go back to a time when rates were much, much higher than they are now. We have historically low rates right now, but they're lowering them even more. That means the Fed is giving itself permission to create cash out of nothing and buy it all. Again, their goal is to own it all, central banks. You will know that. That is their number one goal, bar none, to own it all. Look, people, the creature from Jekyll Island is a must-have for you. You want to understand central banking? If you can't afford to buy a book, and I'm sure that's true for some of you, the information is all available online for you. Everything that central banks are doing now, what they have done, their plans since the inception, how they've literally taken over the entire world, how they've created world leader puppets who are nothing but mouthpieces, leading us all to the slaughter, again, by division, by preying on your weakness, by preying on your fears, real or not. It's an amazing thing. Really, history has proven that if someone says a lie enough, the lie becomes the truth. And that's what politicians do. They can't stop. And their legions of followers fall right in line. And then if you speak out against it, even if you show them proof, it's not right. And that is how society is controlled. You understand? I think, look, man, I sit here and I talk about, again, how to take advantage of the situation, how to bet against the debt, become your own central bank, take advantage of this market that continues to go higher. Something that you and I, again, we are almost like a lone voice out here in the wilderness. You got YouTuber after YouTuber after YouTuber after YouTuber talking about how there's going to be a crash tomorrow. And I know all the calls again for next month. They're all going to be wrong. I'm telling you right now, they're all going to be wrong. It can't stop. No, first of all, you have to understand, this is a presidential selection cycle. The Federal Reserve works to keep things in order through every single presidential cycle, propping up the market. It's not coming down. If the market were to fall, what would the Fed do? How many of you even know, and I know if you've been with me long enough, you're aware of this, the Federal Reserve has a trading desk. The New York Fed has a trading desk. The plunge protection team is a real entity. It's not just a tinfoil hat thing. Look it up for yourself. The Fed will get into the market, buy large cap stocks, and prop it up. That's what they will do. They're not going to let it fall. You understand? So what we're doing here, by looking at risk in the market, understanding currency devaluation, realizing that rates are going to be artificially depressed from here to kingdom come, no matter who's selected as president, they work for the Fed. They work for the Fed because they are aligned with the Fed. They're doing what the Fed wants, which makes them, in my opinion, our enemies. Okay? Dividing, preying on your fears. Does that sound like someone that's a friend to you or an enemy to you? You understand what I'm talking about? You see, are we on the same page? At least I hope so. Anyway, the solutions are too simple. With regard to the market, we're not going to stop. We are unwavering in what we're doing with betting against the system, realizing that central banks are betting against their own system by hoarding gold at the fastest pace that we've ever seen. We're doing what they're doing now. They're betting against their own system. We're betting against their system. It's how to short it in many ways. Just shorting the debt by holding gold and silver, because eventually the debt market's going to implode. The debt market is being hyperinflated, with obviously the Fed now doing what they're doing, artificially cutting rates here, suppressing rates, currency devaluation, Kamala and Trump playing into the same game. That's what they're doing. It's just leading up to a climax that is going to lead to a shortage of resources around the world. There's going to be pandemonium in the streets. There's going to be a liquidity crisis like we've never seen before. We were having one before. It's going to happen again. But again, you and I already understand what they're going to do. They need an event to occur. And that's really what we should be maybe focusing on. I don't know what it's going to be. Is it going to be another scamdemic? Is it going to be war? Is it going to be a combination? Is it going to be something completely different? I don't know. Aliens. Pick up something. Nothing is beyond whatever they want to show us or sell us here. Okay. Or via the live vision. They can make anything look real. Anything at all. Assassination attempts, they can make them look real too. They can make anything look real whatsoever. Okay. They can sell you lies and tell you that they're truths. And they will. And people are going to buy. Starvation. Absolutely, dude. You're on point here. They are going to find ways to bring us to our knees. And I think obviously what they're going to do when the debt market implodes, this is going to lead to a resource problem here. Again, we're pulling cash into the now, a mechanism that must go on in order for the system to function. You understand? It can't stop. That's the curse of the debt-based system. Yes, we can take it back. Yes, we've been promised a constitutional or a sound money system, but they've stolen it from us. We can take it back. We just need the guts to do it. Having the guts to do it realizes who our enemies are, what they're trying to achieve here, okay? The division will not allow us to come together. They cannot allow this. Why do you think there's only a two-party system? You have a two-party, of course there's other parties out here, but Two parties, the Democrats and the Republicans, because it's too simple to keep people split. If there were a third party or a fourth party with enough behind it to actually be selected a president, people would get too confused. They can't allow that. There's only two. There's only two for a reason. Put people here, put people here. Find a figurehead for this party and a figurehead for this one that is extremely divisive. Someone that will, again, be a master at preying on your fears. And that's how it works. That's why the system is set up the way that it is. Does it make sense to you? Jonathan, thank you. Audit the Fed. It'll never happen, man. It'll never happen. Unfortunately, people have tried to do it for years. Even Trump said it at one point. Didn't happen. It just won't happen. It's impossible. Europe is dying. Europe is dying. The world is dying. I hear from my European friends all the time. All the time. This is a controlled demolition. This is a deconstruction. The world is being destabilized, deconstructed, deliberately, methodically. And that's why we are in the shape that we're in right now. We have the solutions are simple here. Again, the polar opposite. Just, again, the opposite of what the Fed is doing right now, which is what Kamala and Trump want. They are saying, promising you lower rates. They've aligned themselves with our enemy, which means, Greg, they are our enemy. Okay? Division. They're masters of it. Trump is the best. I've never seen a guy who's able to get into people's heads like this. It's unbelievable. He has an uncanny talent to do it. How he does it is, again, he knows where your fears are. They both do. But Trump is a master. Someone has to be better than the other. I think Trump is the best I've ever heard of, I've ever seen. Again, whatever it might be, get into your head, make you afraid of something, and you're done. You become a slave. It's a crazy thing. It's a crazy situation. But this is a trait that many, many world leaders have had. And those who have had it have led their societies and nations into absolute destruction. I'm just saying that. I'm not going to say Kamala's doing the same thing. They're both aligning themselves with the Fed. That's leading to our demise, our destruction. If we just had two things, again, if we had the Fed raising rates right here, that would be a solution. We'd have a stronger currency. But we're getting the polar opposite. Anyway, look, what we're going to do, you and I, is continue to raise our awareness, stay on top of what's going on. And I'm going to ask you, honestly, being that we've had so few people here, again, they're not interested in solutions. Look at the title of this video. They're not interested in solutions. That's a big, massive roadblock. Just like 26% of the people that follow this blog, 26% in the poll that I took, they have no interest in returning to a sound money system. They like it the way it is. Think about what I just said. These are people that follow this blog. I was mind blown by that. I really expected it to be maybe 90-10. When I saw 26% of the people that follow this blog have no interest in returning to a sound money system, and now I'm seeing how few people have any interest in solutions, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. Audit the Fed and expose the truth. Of course. But you have to understand who the Fed is right now. The Fed has been made the most powerful organization the world has ever seen. There's nothing that comes close to the power of the central banking system right now. And they'll destroy us all. Believe me, we are expendable to keep their system going. The 1% and 2%ers will squash us like bugs. They own 98% of the wealth of this world. But there's much more of us. Think about what I just said. 98% of the wealth of this world is controlled by 2%. 2. The rest of us, we live under them, but there's way more of us than them. But those 1% and 2%ers are who the system serves. Do you understand? Does this seem very obvious to you, or is it just me? I really do want to hear from you, honestly. All right, look, people, I think we covered a lot here. It's been very long. Do you guys and girls want to? I like that. Dead dollar, you're awesome. I own 0.0000000 of the world. It sounds about right. Sounds about right. Is there anything you guys and girls want to cover before we go? Man, it's Friday, so we're not going to see each other until Sunday, and we're going to leave off like we always do. Don't worry about that. But yeah, it's just too obvious. If imagine just for example, we had more people here right now, more people that could hear what we're talking about. I've said for many, many years though that if one, I believe this with all I have, if one person has the power to change the world, and I believe this with every fiber of my being. Imagine what we can do. We got 250,000 people here. 250,000. Obviously, not everybody here is on the same page. Excuse me. Seems like 26% like the current system. That's a shame. That's why I really wish that we could grow this channel. We could, what we could do, man. What we could do would be simply amazing. And just going back to this, people, I can promise you, I would do a better job than Elon Musk would for this thing. Nothing would prevent me from doing the right thing, because the right thing is always the right thing to do. Peter, I'm quoting you, buddy. My friend Peter, I'm sure you're watching this, buddy. It is. It's always the right thing to do, and you know the right thing. Anyway, man, that's kind of it, I guess, man. I'm disappointed very much about a lot of things, but together we can change this all. We can. Yes, you're right. No one wants a solution. This is so disappointing to me that we only have this many people here right now. But you know what? Let me say something. We could turn that around too. You have the power to do it. Every single one of you who has access to a social media site, whatever it might be, or many of them, share this video. Get it out there. Maybe we'll get one person who will listen to it and then share it again. It's up to you if you want this thing to spread around. I really think that we have that power, people. You know, I don't think that war solves anything. War serves itself. I don't think an armed revolution would actually do anything right now. We can do this another way. I really, really do. I believe that we just need the right people to do it. It just seems too easy to take up arms and murder each other because that's what they want, because we're divided. But imagine if we could come together. I don't think murder solves anything. I don't know. Just my perspective on it. Anyway, look, people, that's kind of where we're at. I think we're going to get going. I really believe that we covered. Emanon is a solution, man. It's a step in the right direction. Just pledge to do one thing good per month for someone you don't know. And we could change the world, people. We could change the world. It's up to us. If it's not up to you and me, who is it up to? Is it up to Kamala? Is it up to Trump? Are these the people that are going to change the world, really? We're going to be the crypto capital of the world. Is that what you want? Really? That's what Trump says, or the crypto queen over there? We have the power. We do. And the sooner we realize that, people from all over this world, and this is a global thing that we have, that we've built together. Some of you have been with me since day one. When I had mutton chops down here, you remember that? I had mutton chops down here. And I had this crazy long hairdo. And now I got a freaking beard. Who knows what's next? Man. Anyway, people, look, I think we're going to cut it here. I think we've covered a lot. There's a lot to digest here. But please comment about the things that we've spoken about here, what we've covered here. Do you believe that we have the power, or is it we don't have it at all? I really hope that most of you are going to say that we do. And if you have the attitude that we don't, think about why you're saying that. And I really hope you come around with this, because I want to build this thing bigger and much better than we have here. That 26% of people who don't want anything to do with the sound money system, I don't even know why they're here. But again, I don't think there's a person alive, maybe some of you, that understands central banking. First of all of us here have a very unique understanding of central banking, how it works. I've done everything I have in my power to enlighten you as to this system, how twisted it is, how it only serves the 1% and 2% at the expense of all. It's a twisted system. We can take it back, people. All right, look, I'm going to let you all go now. I want you to do this. All right, bring it in. It's Friday, people. It's Friday. You're not going to see me until Sunday for my markets to look ahead. Please share this stuff. Please get it out there. I really appreciate those thumbs up. We could use those too. Again, it allows the algorithms to pick it up. And it's up to you guys and girls if you think people should hear this stuff. Because I really believe that, what we've started, this is small, okay? Every revolution, every solution starts out tiny, all right? And then it will grow. And that's up to you. That's up to you guys, all right? Anyway, bring it in. Like I said, love each other, care about each other, be charitable. People, again, let's put this week behind us. And we're going to start anew, all right? We're going to start with a new attitude come Sunday when I see you again, all right? That's it. I'm gone. People, until we meet again, please take care of yourselves and, of course, each other.